Welcome to the Peace Dependency podcast. I'm your host, Frank, also known as Sir Mason. We have the PAL World Champion on the show today. He also came in the top 4 of the CTWC Silver bracket and is the inaugural winner of the PAL BeNeLux Cup. It's Maiwingkos. We spoke prior to the Classic Tetris PAL Tier 1 tournament, and we talked about CTEC 2020, the Kids PAL World Cup, switching between NTSC and PAL Tetris, and much more. This is our conversation. Wing, welcome to the Peace Dependency podcast, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, first question is always the same question for everyone who's new on the podcast, and that is, how did you get into NES Tetris?
I've got into NTSC Tetris a few months before CTEC last year, so 2019. When I watched a video of Jonas' top 10 CTWC moves, and since then I got really interested in it. I started playing it. I didn't even know of the existence of CTEC back then.
Yeah.
It's only a few weeks before when I knew about it, and so I trained for it and I booked a ticket. So that's how I kind of started back then.
How many weeks before CTEC did you start playing, or did you start training?
Because I only knew about NTSC, I didn't even know about the difference between PAL and NTSC. It was only a couple of weeks when I started playing PAL.
But did you start on NTSC using an emulator or on original hardware?
On an emulator. I had one, a PAL from my brother, but I played on an emulator for quite a while.
And do you now have the original hardware?
I have both right now. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
ordered it via eBay, so I've got both controllers.
But when you switched to PAL to train for CTEC, it was 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When you switched to PAL, did you feel the difference between the NTSC and the PAL version?
Oh, it was really weird for me the first time because NTSC is a bit slower. So I I really sucked at it at the time, and I couldn't play 19 like at all back then. So.
But you even managed to qualify for a CTEC 2019, right?
Yep, it was actually quite lucky. I didn't even expect to qualify, but I ended up as a last seat, the 16th seat.
Really? And what was the score?
I I think it was 530 back then. It was
Yeah.
a bit lower than 2020, so I remember. So I think it was 530K.
But how many hours a day did you train for CTEC 2019?
I was still I started. I think it was a few hours a day, 1 or 2 hours a day, but not like not every day. It was like when I had time, I just went on the emulator or on the PAL console
Yeah.
whenever I had time.
Really? Oh wow. So I always thought that you needed to train a couple of months before you can compete in a major tournament, and you decide, oh wait, I have a couple of weeks, I train a couple hours a day, and I made it to the to the main bracket of CTEC 2019. Who did you play in 2019?
I played Richard in the first round,
Yeah.
and I got crushed. I topped out early with the first game on. It was a level 18 start.
Yeah.
The second game I started on level 12 because it was allowed, just
Yeah.
to have a slower starting speed.
Ah. And when did you move to the hardware of NTSC?
I think it was a few months after after CTEC because I had to order it from the US and stuff like that. So shipping took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a few months after CTEC, I think.
So that's end of 2019, early 2020, and you maxed out in October, I believe.
Yeah, it was after CTWC this like 2020, I think,
Yeah.
something around that. So it was a year after or something.
How did you train to become a max out player?
It's really there isn't really a strategy. It's just playing a lot. But because after CTEC, I was like, damn, I had a few goals. I wanted 600K on PAL and I maxed out on NTSC.
Yeah.
So I just started playing a lot as I really got into the game. So it was really fun to play a lot because usually I get sick of um, playing a game a lot. But
Yeah.
with Tetris, I didn't have that.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's because maybe it's because like every game is different. I guess because of
Yeah.
the RNG, you will never have the same game twice. The thing that kept me interested in the game.
All right. And is a 1.1 million score even reasonable for you in the next coming months?
Uh, I I am trying for that. Yeah, it's one of my goals now is indeed 1.1.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have confidence in it, but I'm not sure how long it will take. Maybe a month, maybe 6 months. Who will know?
You need to grind for it.
Yeah, yeah. But and I'm also a lot busier lately because of work and stuff like that.
So you have even less time to play and practice.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to find a lot of time lately to grind.
What is it that Tetris has your attention so much that you play it day in day out?
I I think it's because after CTEC 2020, like there has been a switch, I think, in the mindset. Oh, maybe I should get better and better at this game, and
Yeah.
yeah, just see how far I can go with the PB and stuff like that.
Do did you never got bored, or how do you let me rephrase it differently? How do you train? What do you use? Do you listen to music while playing, or to a podcast, or just it's in silence?
It's usually with a bit of yeah background music, um, or on stream with people, so I can like talk a bit while I'm playing. Because I usually do slightly better when I'm not stressed. So if I talk with people while I'm playing, I feel more comfortable. So yeah, it's stuff like that to keep me
Are you
calm.
yeah? Are you someone who gets in their head when you play, like
Um,
thinking moves out and something like that?
mm, no, I really mostly I just like try to play my own game, without really looking at the opponent, because
Yeah.
at the end, it's your own game that is the most important thing during that tournament, during that game. So I try to focus on my opponent as less as possible, to be honest.
Do you think you have a signature stacking style, or is it just generic and basic?
I think um, INTSC is stacking is more generic than like my PAL stacking, because um, the I think the way I won CTEC is because I stacked relatively safe, compared to a lot of PAL players, because PAL is usually known as a super aggressive stacking. You want to burn as less as possible.
Yeah.
You play super aggressively, basically. And I think did the opposite of that. I played relatively safely while still scoring above 500k. Yeah, I think that was like my success at that tournament, I think.
And is that also the difference between how you stack on PAL and NTSC? Like you play
Um,
safe on PAL and a bit more aggro on NTSC?
yeah, I think I especially nowadays, I play more aggressively on NTSC, and I try to do that on PAL too, just to get higher scores, of course. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying to do.
What's your ultimate goal in NTSC?
Um, think, let me think. Maybe a 1.2 would be very ambitious. If I get that at some point, I will be very happy, I think.
Then a 1.2 with DAS.
Yes, with DAS.
Ever considered switching over to tapping?
I have considered it a few times. I tried it, but it didn't really work out in my case. I think I'm just too slow, I think.
So you stick with DAS for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, maybe if I find some kind of technique I'm comfortable with, maybe then I will switch. But I don't think it will happen in uh like a moment or something. It won't happen
Oh yeah.
like this month suddenly.
Before we move on to everything you and CTEC, CTWC, Kid Paul, I wanted to discuss this with you. We had a crazy month in Paul. Eric ICX got the first ever Paul max out. Kingsman announced that he will be organizing along with Tuki the Paul Kingsman Invitational Tournament, which we discuss later on. What was your reaction when you saw the PAL max out from Eric ICX?
I actually was on that stream just accidentally. I was like just switching between streams, um, and I just stumbled upon that max out. So I was lucky I was there live. It was actually really amazing. His transition score wasn't that high. I think it was like 500 something K. So
Yeah.
I thought like, well, this won't go on for that long, but it kept going and it kept going. I was amazed. Well, I just kept watching the game, and it just happened. So
And when did you start believing that at that moment the PAL max out was possible?
I saw him just getting like the long bar at 4 high to the left. I was like thinking, whoa, this should be relatively doable for for Eric.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. You can't get like 3 high left with that. So unless you quick
Yeah.
tap, but
And everyone knew that it was possible given the transition world records and the PAL 19 start world record, but did you think we would skip the 900k entirely?
no, no. I thought, to be honest, I thought like Marcus or Adam would get the world record or at least a max out first before Eric. But yeah, it
Yeah.
really just kind of took me by surprise. Let's say it that way.
And given the fact that after 19, the speed doesn't increase in PAL, do you think that PAL has a higher score potential than NTSC?
I do believe that, yes. If you see what's possible nowadays, I think you can theoretically like play endlessly if you don't
Yeah.
get tired in any way. Or so, yeah, I think it is possible to get higher scores than NTSC.
The world record was set by a hypertapper. Do you think that the hypertapping style will be also the dominant style going forward in PAL, given the fact that DAS is faster than in NTSC?
I think only the fastest tappers will have some kind of advantage, right, compared to DAS players.
Yeah.
So I think it's will like advantage will remain to a small group of tappers, but I don't think like most other tappers will have a distinct advantage compared to DAS players.
Will that select group of tappers, will they dominate in any shape or form? Or do you think that you need to have the experience on PAL to be consistent?
Well, I think Eric is like an exceptional tapper. It's like even if his stacking is a bit less, he can compensate it with his crazy tapping skills. But I think for like, let's say, average tappers, let's say that way, you need to have a certain knowledge about level 19, I think. Like Adam
Yeah.
is like the best example for that. He's playing DAS, of course, but he knows what's possible and what's not possible on level 19 PAL. So I think you do need some set of knowledge experience to master that level 19 play.
What do you try to do to master the 19 play?
It's mainly also it's mainly usually with Tetris just playing it a lot. Like
Yeah.
I've had a few long sessions on level 19, and I just felt I get slightly better after each session. So yeah, I am still I think I can still do a lot better on level 19 right now. So I still think there's a lot of like margin for
Yeah.
progression.
Yeah, because even more and more matches are decided on the 19 speed nowadays in PAL.
Yeah, you can see it on CTP, for example. It's really crazy what Mercus and Adam can do. And Doc playing CTP last month, it was really crazy.
What is your current goal in PAL?
Right now, I'm trying to get 750K, and we'll just see how far we'll get from that point on. So it's not really a certain uh, goal. And
Is
right
it
now, I'm just playing for more for fun.
okay? You don't want to grind for the 750k
Yet.
yet, because your main focus now on NTSC?
Right now, I'm doing a bit of both. I started playing in CTL this season.
Yeah.
I'm planning to qualify for Classic Tetris Nations League. Um, and yeah, preparing for the Kingsman's Invitational. So it's a bit of both right now.
How do you constantly switch between the PAL version and the NTSC version?
It's actually weird for me because I actually do better when I keep switching back and forth between the two versions.
Why do
Um,
you think that is?
well, it's just like the one helps with stacking. I feel um, like you stack differently in both versions. At least for me, it is because of the different dash speed and stuff like that. So the
Yeah.
one helps me with the other version and vice versa. So it somehow makes me better than when I only play one version.
How long does it take before you fully transitions between the two versions?
Usually when I switch from PAL to NTSC, I only need like a few games to get going
Yeah.
because PAL is like a bit quicker, so I get used to the slower NTSC 18 a lot quicker. But I need a few days when I switch from NTSC to PAL.
Did that get you in some trouble when you played NTC for a couple of days and then you had a PAL tournament and you needed to switch to PAL?
I I usually take a few days for before I participate like in a PAL tournament to get used to uh, PAL speed again. So I take my time to get used to both speeds.
When will you be winning Classic Tetris PAL, the monthly tournament?
I'll do my best, I guess. And I can't really like stick a month to the like I'm going to win that month. I think level is the level has gone a lot higher since CTEC. Like Turkish is has gone nuts with his scores after CTEC, I believe. So
Yeah.
and all the US players. joined the PAL community too. So the level is getting higher and higher right now.
It's a good addition that US players finally make a transition from NTSC to PAL.
I think it's a great thing that both community gets like interlinked between the two. I think it's a great thing for especially PAL, I think, because it's quite a small community before CTEC, I think. And it's nice to see there's like more people, quote unquote, accepting PAL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing for both communities.
Yeah. We will return to the conversation with Wing in a minute. But first, if you like the Peace Dependency podcast, help us grow. Please share the podcast with every classic Tetris fan. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Peace Dependency. You can also like our Facebook page, Peace Dependency Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will have all the podcasts uploaded at full length. Also, you can listen to the Peace Dependency Podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Join the Tetris Friendlies Discord server. Besides the fact that it's the place to discuss anything PDP, you can also participate in some lovely friendlies or put your ELO on the line in the various ELO battles. If you have a suggestion who we need to have on the next Peace Dependency podcast, let us know through our socials, the Discord channel, or send us an email, peacedependencypodcast@gmail.com. Now, let's go back to the conversation with Wing, where we will be talking about CTEC 2020. You are the CTEC, the CTEC 2020 champion. What were the expectations and what was your goal going into CTEC 2020?
The funny thing there is I didn't have any expectations. Like my expectations was qualifying with a 600K, to be honest.
Yeah.
And did happen. I was 20th seat and I was already super happy I was in. I went there, went to the tournament without like any expectation, without any stress. I would have been very happy if I only won one game.
And was that the key to success, that you had nothing to lose?
I think it has a major contribution to that. Yes, I like the first game. I won against Merkish. The three games were all really close, if I remember well.
Yeah.
And I was stressing during the games, but after games, I like, oh damn, I won a game. I won like one round.
Yeah.
every further round I win is like a bonus. Was a bonus for me.
And then in round 2, you were up against the 3-time CTEC champion Swavar. So basically, if you lost that match, you were okay with the loss, and then you won a round, and then yeah, it's no biggie that you lose against a 3-time champion.
Yes, indeed, exactly. It was also great. Before I went in the game, yeah, indeed, I was like, indeed, if I lose, it's not a shame. It's like 3 times CTEC champion. So I had nothing to lose back then, and so yeah, it's hard to describe right now. So
But try it.
just when I went into the games, stress came back again during the games, of course, because it's still against the 3 times CTEC champion.
Yeah.
But by surprise, it went to a decider. I was like, holy shit, I can't take this. I saw in some crazy ways. So I beat Salvar with like one Tetris difference because he topped out a few lines earlier. And
Yeah.
I went crazy. I was already I think crying a little bit. I was shaking like, oh damn, I just beat Svavar. It was really crazy if I think about it again.
Was that the moment when you realized that you could win CTEC 2020?
Well, there were a few surprises by then because I think Brennan beat Yanni.
Yeah.
And I think Mark, he topped out like super early that last game. So there were like 3 favorites that were knocked out in the same round, I think. So I was I was starting to like think there was something possible in CTEC. Like, damn, indeed, there was, even if it's a small chance, there is a possibility for me to win. This is crazy. I was having a lot of thoughts and emotions about it.
But how did you try to calm down your nerves?
Yeah, I think between the games, I usually just go downstairs to the living room to talk with my parents, as my mother was watching the stream with me. Um, so I was just like, I had some time to chill with my parents. I think that also helped me a lot to just stay calm as
Yeah.
much as possible.
And you weren't in the same room for the whole broadcast.
Yeah, I played upstairs in my like in the top floor of the house.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like disturb anyone when I was playing or rage quitting or whatever. So yeah.
Was there a moment any time during the tournament that you thought, okay, now I'm done?
I had a few moments like that. Like I was 2-0 behind against Friedrich. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is over for me. I'm gonna get swept here. So against Richard in the finals, I had that same feeling in the decider, because it was 3-3, I think, at some point. So
Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh damn, I'm so close, but yet it's so far.
If you lost that semi-final against Frieder, would you be disappointed because you just couldn't reach the finals?
That point, I think I would have been disappointed, but I think I would have placed it like a day after. I would have placed it in a right um, place. I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed anymore the day after, I think, because I already overachieved at that point. So.
And then the finals. You were going up against the runner-up for 2019 and the man who defeated you in round number 1 of 2019, Richard. With what mindset did you went into that finals?
I think again, it was like without expectations. Like, okay, if I win, super awesome, then I'm the CTEC champion. But if I lose, still against Richard. I mean, he was runner-up last year. Like he won CTM. It wouldn't be a shame to lose against Richard. I mean, he's so good. He would have deserved it as well if he won, of course. But yeah, I I didn't went into it with like super high expectations once again.
And how nerve-wracking was that decider?
Oh, that decider was crazy. There were so many things went through my head like, at that moment. Like, if I lose this, damn, it would be such a shame.
Weren't you scared that you would do something crazy and then an early tap out and an anti-climax was game number 7?
Yeah, it's always the case when you um, play in front of an audience, even though it's with us, it's via restream, of course, but it's still in front of a lot of people watching you play. You don't want to disappoint them, of course. So yeah, there is a certain kind of stress to it.
Yeah.
But I try to play relatively safe. Like in most of my games in PAL,
Yeah.
in CTEC, definitely, to not top out early.
And what went through your mind when you saw that you were CTEC champion?
Um, I couldn't believe it at first because I was listening to the commentators live. We were in the same Discord channel,
Yeah.
voice chat. I first couldn't believe it. I had to listen. I had to listen for a few minutes further when they kept saying like, "Oh, the new CTEC champion is Maiwingkos." I was like, "Holy shit, is this real?" And yeah, it was only after a few minutes I kind of like accepted it. And yeah, so many emotions went up at that moment. I was like, I was crying at that moment. My mother screamed and went upstairs because she saw it too. Yeah, it was a lot of emotions. The moment I knew I won.
How did you celebrate it?
Um, it was quite calm the night itself, because it's already quite late. I didn't want to disturb my neighbors, for example.
Yeah.
I was screaming a lot. I think they heard me, my neighbors, but yeah,
Did they
I
knew that you were playing in CTEC?
oh no, my neighbors don't know I'm like playing anything competitively like Tetris. So yeah, they probably think I'm crazy or something, but
But that is amazing. You become CTEC champion, and your neighbors have no clue what is going on. They don't know. They don't realize that you just are the best PAL player of the world right now.
yeah, they probably think I'm a madman screaming at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the midnight.
How did people around you react to being CTEC champion?
Um, like I didn't expect like a lot of reactions from the people living nearby me, like people from work, um, like people from my school a few years ago and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was quite surprising because some of my friends they actually watched CTEC with me, like watched me play, even when they didn't know anything about classic Tetris.
Oh,
Because I
really?
said
Yeah.
like, because I just posted something on Facebook like, come and join us people playing CTEC, the European Championship of Classic Tetris. And by my surprise, a few people did watch it, and they
Yeah.
immediately congratulated me on Facebook, like, "Holy shit, we have a European champion!" I was quite surprised by that. It was really nice.
Your win at CTEC also got covered by some local media in Belgium. How did they find out?
It was one of my friends. He asked me like, "Is it okay for me to post this like this news to the local newspapers and stuff like that?"
Yeah.
So I said like, "Yeah, it's fine as long as I don't have to actively ask them. If they just come to me and ask me, then yeah, sure, why not?" So yeah, that's why it kind of got a bit of coverage in the entirety of Flanders.
Journalists went to your house, right? To interview you.
Yeah, they wanted a few shots of me playing Tetris. They wanted to interview me live. So yeah, they just went to my house and took a few pictures of my setup and me playing Tetris on a lower speed. And while I was playing on a lower speed, they were interviewing me.
And after that got aired, did you get more reactions of people you know?
Uh, it went to the radio, and that got a lot of people knew it from via the radio. A lot of people from my work. So I
Yeah.
suddenly started getting more messages like, "Oh, damn, congratulations, you won," and stuff like that. So it was really nice. Yeah, it got quite a lot of response from people from my work a few days after I won it. So
When people ask you what is your hobby, and you say I'm a classic Tetris player, do you tell them that you won CTEC, or are you just quiet about it?
usually I'm not like I'm not like sell out of how do you say, like immediately tell I won a big tournament and stuff like that. I usually stay like, how do you say it, quite humble about it, like in a sense. I usually just say I play games. I play Tetris, well, retro games. But yeah, if they want to know more about it, they will spontaneously ask more about it. So It's not like I actively have to say like, oh, I won this tournament and stuff like this.
And did you get more people into NES Tetris, you think?
I really hope so. I really hope so. Like, if we get a lot more Belgian players, that would be really awesome, or Dutch players for that matter. I think it would be great for the community, um, for the competitiveness inside Belgium and inside the Netherlands. I think it would be really great.
Do you think it will be necessary to have what we have right now, a BeNeLux, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, regional scene? Or do you want to have a national scene, just only Belgian players who are playing a national championship or something like that?
I think the Benelux right now is best the best idea of the two, because both communities, especially the Belgian one, is quite small, especially for classic Tetris. So I think there's not really a point to have only a Belgian community right now. Maybe in the future if there are more players. So like now, I didn't know a lot of the new players in in the Benelux tournament, so it's great to see new names.
The most Belgian players, and I think maybe all of them, at least that we actively know, are from Flanders. Um, do you know any players from Walloon?
No, right now not actually. I don't know if it's because they only speak French. I'm not sure why like there aren't any French Belgian players. Yeah, it's a question I've asked myself a lot too.
So we had a regional tournament last February, at the end of February. It was the first tournament for a regional scene. Is it different to play in a tournament with only Benelux players, or compared to a tournament that got international players?
I think, of course, the level is higher internationally, um, but I take both tournaments in a train for it in like not a different way. It's like every tournament is like this has the same value for me in some way. So it's not like I'm saying the Benelux tournament is like worse or anything. I take they're equally good in a sense. But yeah, of course, the international level is higher. So yeah, you have to take that into account, of course.
With the PAL Benelux Cup, we used a different tournament structure. Uh, we had 8 qualifiers, and then seed number 1 and 4 got placed in Group A. They played a round robin. Seed 5 to 8 got placed in Group B. They played a round robin, so you got the strongest players who played against each other. You got the lesser strong players. They faced off against each other. Did it help for the tournament that you played Rocco, you played Setnev, you played a new player, or Luke? Did that help to improve the quality of the matches?
I think it was a really good and like fresh way to do a tournament. It's a format we have never like really done before, I think, in a classic Tetris tournament. And it also keeps it fun for like levels, let's say that way, that like the lesser players don't have to play like a super good player, like just like Sitnif, for example. You won't have like a Sitnif against or Alp or something like immediately in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think it keeps the fun in for both levels, and yeah, you will get good matches from the start till the end. Like yeah, I think it really is a nice way to do a tournament once in a while.
Is that a problem that a single elimination or double elimination, it doesn't really matter, has, that you have the highest seed face off against the lower seeds in the first round, so you get less competitive matches?
I think nowadays it isn't the case as much as it used to be, I think, because the level has gone a lot closer to each other. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think, like for example, in CTEC last year, like in 2019, I mean, In the first round, the lower seed usually got crushed with 2-0. So yeah, it's still fun, even for me losing against Richard in the first round in CTEC 2019. But I think
Yeah.
like you did it in the round in the BeNeLux tournament, it has a nice twist to it, I think.
Yeah. We had an unexpected finalist in RVP. Is he one of the players we need to watch out for in the future?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah, he told me like he wasn't playing level 18 as much as he's playing level 19. So he has a lot of margin for progression, I think, on the level 18 play.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he even has a 700k, which for me is like a surprise if I see him play level 19 on PAL.
He just got a new PB, like 600 something.
Oh,
And
okay.
everyone is like, let me check it. And everyone is like, that 700k is easy for you.
I really think it is for RVP. He's really a good player. I like, for example, I think if he starts playing NTSC, he also can get really good. But right now, I think he has more fun playing PAL. So.
RVP has now a 622k PB, and it's a level 18, 19 run, was it? So if he gets 19, if he can get a pretty good transition and a decent stack going into 19, there are options to get that 700k.
Yeah, it's like the group that I can definitely see them getting 700k and above.
Yeah. And are there more players from the Benelux which you would say you need to keep an eye on them?
Of course, Sidney, but I think he proved it already enough since he beat me in the round robin of the BeNeLux tournaments and also in CTP last month. But yeah, I don't think I have seen enough players like specializing in PAL or playing a lot of PAL because usually they come from the NTSC scene.
But you will get your revenge against Sidnev in CTL because you are placed in the same division as Sidnev.
Yeah, but I think he's a lot better at NTSC than me right now. But yeah, we'll see. I'll try my best.
Were you surprised that you got placed in Division 3 of CTL?
I honestly expected to be in Division 4, to be honest. So I was a lot very surprised to see that I was placed in Division 3.
Why did you think that you went to Division 4?
I I think it's mainly because of the players that are in those divisions, right? Like last CTL, I based myself on that, so I just see myself more in Division 4 than Division 3. But yeah, we'll see, of course. But those were my thoughts during the drawing.
Did you know beforehand which division you would end up, or did you found it out during the draft?
I found out during the drawing. That's why I was super surprised.
What are your expectations for CTL this season?
I'm quite new to NTSC, like CTL especially. I mean, so I think if I don't in the first season, if I don't relegate to Division 4, that would be really good already.
Yeah.
So I think that's my target for this season, and then we'll see from next season on.
You have some tough opponents in your division.
There are most of those players like played in like CTWC, right? Moodius, Sitnef.
Sofa, Josh.
Yeah.
You have like
So
4 players who played in the golden bracket of CTWC. You played in the silver bracket of CTWC. I mean, you gotta beat Modus.
I'll do my best, man.
I know he listens to this podcast, so he knows.
It's just a bit of trash talking before we play the games, right?
We mentioned you played in the CTWC Silver bracket. You were qualified as seed number 16. This tournament was a week after CTEC and it was spread across 2 days. After you won CTEC, did you immediately transfer back to NTSC or did you wait a few days to celebrate and then transfer back to NTSC?
Oh no, I immediately went to NTSC because I really wanted to do well, like not top out early and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to show that I can like competently play NTSC too. And I was like on a cloud, you just won CTEC at that point. So it was you were playing with good vibes, let's say like a good atmosphere. I mean,
How did you prepare for the silver bracket?
it's really in the same fashion as CTEC, just like playing nonstop. I did like 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Whenever I had time, I just went to my room and just started playing. So a week isn't a lot of time. So
What was your feeling after day one of that silver bracket tournament when you know you won both matches? You defeated the number one seed to end day number one, and you knew you were in the top 8 of the silver bracket.
yeah, before the games, I asked Tugi for how Alex played, how his playing style was and stuff like that, because I didn't know all about the players of the silver bracket. So yeah, I was already very happy that I beat Alex, and even though he like topped out twice quite early, but yeah, I was really happy when I reached the second day.
Yeah. Was that a goal to reach day number 2?
Yeah, that was my main goal. Like yeah, just to reach that second day. Yeah, I think you can put it that way. Yes.
And after you swept NGC man in the quarterfinals to start the second day, you had to face Bad Void, the odds-on favorite for the silver bracket. How did you go into that match?
Um, it's like a lot of tips that came in from my friends. Like Tugi said, just play your own game and try not to top out, which I failed miserably. But yeah, I tried to do that. Just try to not top out, and not play too dangerously. But yeah, I think my 19 play that day wasn't um, too great, I think. But yeah, I did my best there. So
Yeah, so unfortunately you lost 3-1 and Bad Boy ended up to be the silver bracket champion. What was your feeling that you took away from CTWC 2020?
um, I was firstly, I was before the silver bracket started. I was disappointed that I didn't like reach top 64. Right now,
Yeah,
if I think back about it, I did quite well in silver bracket, so I can't be like too sad about it. So yeah, my goal is just like the feeling I had at the end of the silver bracket was just try to qualify for CTWC next year for the golden bracket. Do better than this year.
I saw a comment of Vince Clementi from CTWC that it's 95% sure that CTWC 2021 will be online this year, and you will be participating.
I will definitely try to. Hopefully, work isn't stopping me if it happens in a terrible timing for me. But yeah, I'll definitely try to qualify. Yes.
I mean, your boss know that you are the CTEC champion. So if you tell him that you were going to qualify for the world championship, maybe he gives you a couple of days off.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I don't get a lot of free days with the job I have. Like
And CTEC is also announced that they wanted to do preferably a real life tournament in 2021, and if a lot of things go under control with COVID, will you be participating in CTEC in 2021 to defend your title?
If I get the chance, I will definitely go to Copenhagen. But as some may know, right now we can't even leave our own country for quote unquote not non-necessary travels.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends on that. I would definitely love to go to Copenhagen, but it depends on the Belgian government, sadly enough, right now.
Do you think that winning CTEC and being in the top 4 of the silver bracket were two breakthrough moments for you?
I think yeah, it definitely made me play the game even more. um, because no, it's not the right way to look at it, but it creates like certain expectations, like people playing you. You're gonna play like 5 times better than they would play any other player, I think, because they probably want to beat like the CTEC champion or something like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people will have that thought playing when they're playing against me, so it creates certain expectations to just not to disappoint your own yourself and like people watching you and stuff like that.
Is that hard to maintain?
I get rusty very quickly, so for me, yes.
Because you are one of the 8 automatic entries in the 4th edition for the Kingsman Invitational Tournament. It's the PAL World Cup edition. Being one of those 8 automatic entries, do you feel the pressure to perform well?
I unconsciously do, but yeah, it's I really don't want to feel like under pressure during those situations, of course. Yeah, somehow it just goes to my head and it says like I want to do well in those tournaments. But yeah, I try to have like more fun lately, so it's try to be less competitive and more just playing for fun while doing my best. I think that's the
Yeah.
most important part for me. If I did my best, then I can't be angry at myself or disappointed, you know?
Like I said, you're one of the 8 automatic entries, and some other great PAL players like Po13, Tugi, Mark Migas, Haps, Blauer Bube had to play a match to qualify. The first part of the tournament is a group stage. 32 people who are in the Kit Paul World Cup will be drawn. We have groups of 4. Which of those top players do you really not want to have in your group?
I think a lot of the names you just mentioned are already a good example. Poet is one of them, of course. Like he got a 900K recently, like a few days ago on
Yeah,
PAL. So he's like a force to be reckoned with, definitely.
and more.
There are a lot of names I think I can name up like BV Tugi. Tugi got a lot better recently. His PBs are getting skyrocketing. So
Yeah.
yeah, too many names to to call. I think.
What are your expectations of the Kit Paul tournament?
I think surviving the group stage will be because the top 2 advances.
That the goal of the tournament, or do you want to win it?
Of course, I want to win it, but yeah, I think there are a lot of right now a lot of better players than me, so will try to snipe a few games here and there.
Will this be a harder tournament to win than many CTPs or even CTEC?
Oh, I definitely think so because this is like after the group stage, it's a single elimination, right?
Yeah.
So it's all or nothing in a like a best of 5 or best of 7. I don't recall it right, but so yeah, we're gonna get surprises definitely. So people will prepare in a different way, I assume, than for a CTP or something.
besides yourself, of everybody who's already in the tournament, who would you say is the odds-on favorite?
Maybe I'm a bit biased here, but I think my favorite is Murkish.
Why?
I don't know. It's something of his playing style. I really like his playing style a lot. He's a solid player, and
Yeah,
he improved a lot since CTEC.
he's a back-to-back CTP champion.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, he's really one of my favorite players. So that's why I'm saying I'm a bit biased, but yeah, he's my favorite.
How do you think the American players who almost never played in a PAL match will do?
I don't think they necessarily will have a disadvantage because I think they will probably prepare for it like a period before the tournament starts, I assume. So
Yeah.
they will probably get used to it.
If you don't make it into the semifinals, which four players can we see in the semifinals? Or do you think will be in the semifinals?
If I have to say four names, like it's
Yeah.
not personal, of course. Merkers, Owens, Eric, and Doc, I think. It's difficult to choose names. I would put Adam in between that top. Really difficult.
It's difficult, right? Yeah. There are so many great players that will be competing in maybe the biggest PAL tournament ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest so far. I think it will only the PAL scene will only get bigger from now on, I think.
Is this the boost that the PAL scene needed?
Definitely think it would. I definitely think it will improve it greatly. Like it is gonna grow. I think with or without the Kingsman tournament, but I think it really helped a lot by having the Kingsman Invitational.
All right. Hey, my final question for you is: what are the things you want to do in the future in classic Tetris?
I think the most important part for me is like just keep having fun at the tournament. Like if I'm able to meet my say classic Tetris friends IRL, that would be really awesome. The
Yeah.
only time I met them was CTEC 2019, and it's been almost 2 years, so it would be really nice to meet them again, have a drink, have a good talk, have a fun with Tetris and stuff like that.
Yeah. We should definitely grab a Belgian beer sometimes.
Well, not in Copenhagen maybe because beer is expensive there, but
No, 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 no. We go to Belgium and then we drink a couple of pints.
oh, I like that. I like that idea.
Hey, Wing, thank you so much for being on the Peace Dependency podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Frank. Thank you for inviting me.
And with that all being said, this will be the end of the Peace Dependency podcast. Thank you all for listening and make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to join the Tetris Friendly's Discord server and follow me on the socials at SirMazer. For now, have a great Tetris month and I will see you all in May. Bye!